Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. We take a whole stack of information, pull out the important bits just for you. Today, July 9th, 2025, it's actually the day of the Ugandan Treasury bonds auction. Makes you think about planning for the future, right?
It really does. And that's exactly what we're diving into today, personal finance, navigating that whole world, which can be, well, exciting, but sometimes a bit confusing.
Yeah, bewildering is a good word sometimes. You've brought some great sources. We've got practical thumb rules, some deep stuff on corporate best practices, even social media trends on saving.
It's a real mix. The goal, I think, is to pull out strategies from all of these things that can help you get a better handle on your own money, make you more informed, more agile.
Exactly. Not just the what to do, but the why behind it, giving you insights that go, beyond just a simple checklist. So let's jump in.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Let's start with the classics, the essential personal finance thumb rules, kind of the bedrock, right?
The foundations, yeah.
First up, pay yourself first. Such a fundamental principle.
It really is. The idea is basically income minus savings equals expenses. You flip the usual script.
Right. Instead of saving what's left, if anything is left, you make savings the priority. You automate it before you even think about spending.
And the key thing there, I think, is the behavioral aspect. By making it automatic, almost invisible, you kind of bypass that whole, should I save this month, decision fatigue.
You're basically tricking your future self into being financially responsible. It works.
It's simple, but so powerful, changing that mindset. And tied right into that is the emergency fund.
Ah, yes, the safety net. Crucial. Yeah. And this isn't money for, like, a planned vacation.
No, exactly. This is for the unexpected. Yeah. Job loss, medical bill, car breakdown, you name it.
The general rule of thumb is what, 3 to 6 months of household expenses?
That's the target, yeah. But, for someone just starting out, that can sound huge, daunting.
It absolutely can. So how do you get started? Beyond just start small, any practical tips there?
Well, one thing I've seen work is to actively find the money. Look at your current spending, find one small recurring thing you can cut, maybe a subscription you forgot about, or packing lunch one more day a week.
Okay.
And then immediately, automatically redirect that specific amount to your emergency savings account.
So it feels concrete. You see the trade-off directly.
Exactly. It helps build that momentum in the habit.
Makes sense. And speaking of safety nets, life insurance comes up too.
Right. The common thumb rule floating around is coverage of at least 10 times your annual income.
And our sources really lean towards pure term insurance.
Yeah, because it's generally the most cost-effective way to get pure protection. Your premium just covers the risk for that term. If you outlive the terms, you don't get anything back, but you've had the coverage when you likely needed it most.
Simple, straightforward protection.
Okay, and then the big one, retirement.
The really long-term goal. Financial planners often talk about aiming for a total corpuses or nest egg.
And the rule there, often cited as, 20 times your annual income? Yeah, 20 times is common, though some experts push that to 30 times. Especially considering inflation over potentially decades.
Right. Inflation's the silent killer of savings.
Oh, yes. This rule, well, it mainly looks at current income and works better if retirement is still far off. It helps you kind of work backward. Estimate what you need to be saving now.
Gives you a target to shoot for. Okay, so those are some foundational rules. Now, how about applying them to big purchases? Like a car.
The 24-10 rule. This one's pretty specific.
Let's break it down.
20% down payment, minimum. And really, the advice is always pay as much down as you possibly can. Reduces the loan amount.
Makes sense. The 4.
Finance for no more than 4 years. Even if the dealer offers you 6 or 7 years to lower the monthly payment. Shorter term means less interest paid overall.
Got it. And the 10.
Your total monthly car expenses, the loan payment, insurance, fuel, shouldn't exceed 10% of your net take-home pay, your actual income after taxes.
Okay. So it's about keeping that car purchase from, overwhelming your budget.
Exactly. Ensuring it fits comfortably.
All right. So those are some solid rules. But now, let's shift gears a bit. We're going to explore something interesting. How ideas from the corporate world, especially around handling volatility and planning, can actually apply to our personal finances.
This is where it gets fascinating, I think, because the world is volatile, right? For companies and for us.
Totally. Our sources suggest that just like traditional management processes are obsolete for businesses dealing with constant change.
A static, old-school approach to your own money might not cut it anymore either. A fixed annual budget you set in January might be useless by March.
Yeah. Things change too fast. And there's this other point about information.
The paradox of information. Yeah, we have more data than ever, but does it lead to better decisions? Not always.
Right. It could just lead to confusion or chasing trends or getting into speculative bubbles because everyone's talking about something online.
Critical thinking becomes absolutely key, sifting through the noise. So with all this financial advice flying around, especially online, what's maybe a red flag? How do you spot potentially unreliable info?
Oh, that's a big one. Number one red flag. Anyone promising guaranteed high returns with little or no risk. That just doesn't exist in legitimate investing.
Right. If it sounds too good to be true.
It almost certainly is. Also, look out for lack of transparency. Are they pushing one specific product really hard without discussing downsides or alternatives? How are they getting paid?
Good points. It connects to another corporate idea. Fast, flawless execution. How does that apply to us?
Well, for companies, it means acting quickly and efficiently. For us, it's about consistency in our habits, saving regularly, sticking to our spending plan.
But it's also about overcoming, decision fatigue.
Exactly. It's about setting up systems, automating savings, automating bill payments, so your financial plan kind of runs itself, even when you're busy or tired or just don't want to think about it, making the default action the right action.
Okay, let's move into strategic personal financial planning. This is where we really challenge old habits. One source says focus on the right things and avoid mistaking detail for accuracy.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Think about a company getting bogged down in incredibly detailed budgets for tiny things when the big picture is what matters.
Like the brewing company example, estimating volumes for 144 different beer types and packages. Probably overkill.
Right. Or, personally, having 10 different subcategories for eating out in your budget app. Does tracking every single coffee really change the big picture? Or does it just make you feel overwhelmed?
So it's about not getting lost in the weeds. Focus on the big drivers: housing, transport, food, savings goals.
Exactly. Excessive detail can be time-consuming and maybe counterintuitively less accurate because the future's uncertain. Better to understand the main flows of your money and if they align with your big goals.
And this idea that financial strategy is a collaborative process, even if it's just you collaborating with yourself.
Yeah. It sounds a bit funny, but it's about alignment, making sure your income, your spending habits, and your future aspirations are all talking to each other and working together, not pulling in different directions.
It's like you need to balance creativity and rigor. You need the inspiring goals, the vision for your future.
But you also need the discipline, the hard work, the consistent action to actually get there. Like building a great product needs both inspiration and solid execution.
Okay, and that disciplined approach definitely includes managing risk. How do we apply corporate risk management thinking to our personal lives?
Well, first step is just identifying potential risks.
Yeah.
What could negatively impact your finances?
Yeah.
Job loss, illness, market crash, unexpected expenses.
Okay.
Then you sort of measure or assess the potential impact, and then you figure out how to manage it. Can you transfer the risk, like with insurance? Can you avoid it, reduce it, or do you just have to accept it and plan for it, like with an emergency fund?
This connects to a really thought-provoking concept of pure personal relevance.
Yeah, this one's deep. Just like a company can become irrelevant to its customers, think H&R Block if a simple flat tax came in, or, the classic buggy whip maker.
Right, their whole market disappears.
We need to think about our own relevance in the economy. Are our skills current? Is our industry stable? Are we adaptable? It's about protecting your ability to earn income over the long term.
So it's proactive career management as part of financial planning, investing in skills, maybe diversifying income.
Could be. Or even just staying informed about trends that could affect your job or industry down the line. It's about ensuring your personal economic engine keeps running.
We can also flip that and look at relevance in our spending. Why do we choose certain products or services?
Is it convenience, speed, price, trust, choice, compatibility? Understanding why you spend money on certain things can help you cut back on spending that doesn't actually align with what you value.
Makes sense. Okay, another corporate tool, scenario planning, playing the what-if game.
Exactly. Companies do this all the time. What if our main supplier goes bust? What if fuel prices double? We should do the same.
Contemplate our own nightmare scenarios. Like, okay, what if I lost my job? What if the market dropped 30% right before I needed the money?
It sounds gloomy, but thinking it through beforehand, what steps would I take? What resources do I have? Means you react calmly and rationally if it actually happens, instead of panicking.
Preparation builds confidence. And what about event-driven forecasting? Sounds fancy.
It just means updating your financial plan or forecast quickly when something significant happens, not just waiting for an annual review.
Like the airline example, if a flight's delayed and 23 passengers might miss connections, they recalculate now, not next week.
Right. So for us, if you get a raise or have a baby or face a big unexpected expense, you adjust your financial outlook immediately. How does this change your savings rate, your debt repayment plan, your goals?
It's about being responsive, agile, which leads to leading indicators.
Yeah, crucial for early warnings. Instead of lagging indicators like your bank account being empty, which tells you after the problem occurred,
Too late.
leading indicators give you advance notice. Like, is your credit card balance creeping up consistently? Are miscellaneous expenses suddenly way higher? Are there clouds gathering in your industry's job market?
These are the signals that tell you to adjust course before you hit the iceberg.
Precisely. It's about proactive monitoring, not just reactive fixing.
Okay, so lots of powerful ideas there. Let's bring it back to action. How do we leverage modern tools and mindsets? We're seeing lots of saving challenges online, right?
We really are. Things like the 52-week challenge, saving $1 the first week, $2 the second, and so on. Or the envelope challenge, 100 envelope challenge, cash stuffing.
That 2025 We Big on Saving trend seems popular too. People are getting creative, even making physical home savings boxes for specific goals.
And I think it shows people want to engage actively. These challenges make saving feel tangible, visual, maybe even a bit fun. They tap into behavioral psychology.
They make it achievable. But, important caveat,
Avoid the silver bullet mentality. None of these challenges or any single app or technique is a magic fix.
right. Financial health isn't a one-time project. It's an ongoing practice, consistent effort.
Absolutely. And it links to the final point. Focus on use, not deployment. It doesn't matter if you have the most sophisticated budgeting app or spreadsheet if you never actually use it to inform your decisions.
The fanciest tool is useless if it just sits there. It's about engaging with the information, using the insights to actually change your behavior.
Exactly. Action is what counts.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've looked at some foundational thumb rules, but also dug into how these high-level corporate strategies managing volatility, risk, information are surprisingly relevant to us as individuals.
Yeah, the takeaway seems to be that managing your money today isn't about a static plan set in stone once a year. It's much more dynamic.
It's like running a nimble company, in a way. Continuous adaptation, spotting risks early, using insights, being agile enough to make informed decisions as things change in real time.
It really shifts the perspective.
Which leads us to a final thought, a question really. If the traditional annual budget is considered dead, or at least outdated in the fast-paced corporate world, what does that imply for our personal approach to budgeting and financial planning?
That's the big question, isn't it? How could shifting away from maybe a rigid annual plan towards something more flexible, more event-driven, more inspired by these kinds of best practices we've discussed, how could that really transform your own financial well-being?
Helping you handle life's curveballs and maybe even grab opportunities you might otherwise miss. Something to think about.